Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the world's #1 rated dental podcast, the Bulletproof Dental Practice Podcast. We have our second in a multi-episode series, the MyStory series, where you get to hear from a longtime listener, and we get to, in live time, real time, kind of work out the problems that us dentists face in our practices. So we're very excited to welcome Dr. Donnie on the show. He is our second MyStory, and we've been getting overwhelming feedback. So please keep those requests coming, those stories coming, and you can send your personal story to mystory@bulletproofdentalpractice.com. Or if you just want to leave a little message asking Peter, hey, what's going to happen with Bitcoin? I'm really upset you told me to buy it at 120, or whatever message you really want to just leave us. Any question, there's no silly question. Please call our hotline at 561-933-5575. No dumb question, anything, any topic. Hey, Ian, what's it like living in South Africa? Hey, Pete, screw you for the Bitcoin. Whatever you want, you can answer it. So Dr. Donnie, welcome to the show.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here. Like you said, longtime listener. You guys were a big motivation for me buying my practice. So super honored and super excited to be here. I'm originally from Cleveland. Ended up traveling to Boston, where I went to dental school at Tufts.
Me too. Sorry, I get excited.
Yeah, there we go.
All know each other?
No, he's
Not
like,
quite.
I'm 100 years older than him.
Okay.
And then I did a residency in New York, in Brooklyn, which is where I live now. But my practice, I actually just bought back in September, about 6 months ago, in New Jersey, central New Jersey. So I'm commuting from Brooklyn to New Jersey right now.
When did you graduate school?
22, graduated.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then I did a 1-year residency in Brooklyn at Kings County Hospital.
And when did you purchase the practice?
September 5th, 2025. Just realizing what was possible, seeing what was possible. I had a certain vision before that I wanted to be a dentist in high school, and then saw what was possible with ownership and entrepreneurship.
What got you into wanting to be a dentist, if you don't mind? I got a couple of questions, and then we can proceed with your...
Yeah. I actually did a vocational program in high school where half the day I went to high school, the other half I went to dental assisting school. So I had a lot of hands-on experience, and that's kind of where I found the passion for dentistry. So I started then, and then, it kind of unlocked it for me.
Yeah, it's so good, because I think one of the reasons why we have a lot of unfulfillment in dentistry is a lot of people actually get into dentistry and have no background in it. They go to the dentist twice a year and this seems cool. I should go do that. And then by the time you had a pre-clin, you're like, oh shit, I have to carve soap and do all this stuff. You're like, I'm pretty invested in it. And then you just go for the rest of it. So, well, congratulations on your purchase. Why'd you buy a practice?
Well, I got into practice ownership because, one, I wanted to unlock a certain amount of wealth for myself. And I thought that the route for that was ownership. It looked like there was a ceiling as an associate when I started to get into the idea of ownership, which is I started kind of entertaining that idea. So that was that's how it stemmed.
Okay. So if I could tell you 2 paths, be an associate, make more money, long-term, make more wealth, or be an owner, make less money, which do you choose? Just out of curiosity.
I would say 6 months ago, I would say associateship. I would say now ownership, only because in it, I love it. I love the problem solving. I love the idea of building something. I have other ventures that I've been doing on the side, and just the idea of building something that people like and gravitate towards is gratifying and fulfilling to me.
You got into it for what I would consider, with all due respect, poor quality reasons. But I think you wound up realizing this is fun because it's a whole unique set of challenges: leadership, development, growing people, Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. Definitely.
Cool. Okay. So let's jump in, guys. What are the challenges? What can we do for you?
I mean, right now, I feel like I'm making some good choices. It's just a matter of knowing what levers to pull. I think that is challenging the most. And also coming into an existing staff. The staff, for the most part, stayed on, and I'm trying to find ways to get them out of their bad habits as I'm trying to build a new brand, because we changed the name, build a new culture in terms of the systems that we're trying to build, and some of those aspects in terms of being a leader, also being clinically excellent, while also being excellent on the business side.
And then one other question, what would 3 years in the future, what would success look like 3 years in the future? Describe that to me.
For my practice or just like personally?
Yeah, I'm talking like the practice, the personal practice interface.
I would say I want to build out my fifth op and I want to have 2 or 3 associates in there where I'm not as clinical anymore. Right now I have 2 associates, but they each only work 1 day. So, and then also revenue wise, I want to be at like 3 million. I think I can get this practice too.
Okay, what does that mean net to you?
I mean, good profit margin. I mean, 1.2
Okay, so like off of 3?
off of 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like
That would
30 net profit.
Yeah.
including your cost of labor, correct?
Right. Right.
I just want to point out something, and I want to just be the ghost of Christmas past for me. Every dentist knows what they want to gross. You said it very quickly. When I said, what do you want to net? It like paused you. So what I want to encourage you is chase the financial bar that suits your life. Because when we ask doctors all the time, and we've done this hundreds of times, what do you want to make? They always say the same thing. I want to make $1 million. I'm like, well, what do you make now? 200 grand. I'm like, okay, what are you going to buy, do, or have once you make $1 million? I have no clue. So why'd you say it? I don't know. So unfortunately, we're all kind of intellectually lazy, and I was the same way. But Peter, go ahead. What is your thought about a 35 to 8% profit margin?
That's great. If it includes, I mean, again, I think we would need to ask, Donnie, you said you wanted a couple of associates, right? And so in that number, it included your cost of labor. Of that 3 million, what will you be doing? How much will you be doing of that?
With your own hands.
Yeah, your own hands, cost of labor.
I mean, I would only want to be 1 to 2 days clinical. Like, I like the idea of like,
How much are you going to produce in that dream? I don't need to know the days.
let's say 750
750
in 2 days.
All right. So your cost of labor roughly in that scenario is going to be about $200,000, meaning that's what the open market would pay you to produce that. Let's call it 25. Okay. So what you're saying is the delta on that cost of labor and then your profit, you're saying 1.2, you want a profit. So now you need to make $1 million to add to your 225. Make sense so far? So $1 million of pure EBITDA. That's where the EBITDA comes in from a net profit scenario. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So Craig is right. That practice would be run at a 33.3% EBITDA margin.
Net profit.
Exceedingly high. Okay. Now you may
Not to say they can't do it, but your rent's got to be super low, and there's no chapstick for patients, and there's no gift bags, and you're reusing Profi cups.
Of the 8 locations I have, I only have one that does that, Donnie, and you may do better than me, and it's in a rural location, right? So like, it's fine. And like Craig said, that goal may have been arbitrary to begin with, but it is good to reverse engineer these. Maybe it's not 1.2. Maybe it's, hey, I'm cool with this, right? But that's that you would reverse engineer it. And I think Craig's right. Giving yourself a large gravitational why is the most important thing. Why do you want this, right? Because you're going to get on the way up, you're going to have to shoot a lot of glass. Let's just be honest. And so if you have a pretty strong why, it's going to help you put Band-Aids on that really quickly. So you also said you want to build out the 5th op. So right now you're saying you're at 4 ops?
Yeah, we have 4 ops right now. There's a 5th op that's plumbed that's serving as a break room right now.
Let me say this. So the 3 million top line that you want to do when 5 ops is out would be a $600,000 per chair utilization per year. That's fully built out. You with me so far?
Yeah.
That again, very, very high as an industry standard. Very high. I'd probably the top 1% of all dental chairs utilization. So again, just something to reframe as you maybe go back and modify some of these, or maybe you have room to expand. I mean, you want to get, if you could add a 6th, 7th, or 8th chair, this makes the math much more doable.
Okay.
Donnie, on average, like what are you doing right now in those 4? Let's just do quick math.
Well, I mean, it's been a very slow up and to the right since I bought the practice. It was a very finicky transition because they had a doctor in and out when I was buying the practice, which actually almost caused the deal to kind of fall through towards the end because their revenue was dropping towards the time that we were closing. So the deal almost fell through, but that first month, I think we did like 55, and then the following month we did 75, then we did 83, then we did 96 this past month, and the month is still going. We're at 115.
You have a 6-month data, right? So now what you can do is you can extrapolate what potentially your run rate would be. So basically, bear with me for a second, Donnie. You're going up and up and up every month, which is great, which is showing that you have the chops to be doing what you do, right? but you're going to plateau because of capacity. Now that you've been living in these numbers, where do you think, if we were to look back, if we look forward a year from now and nothing's changed in the capacity, where do you think that the normalized collections per month would be?
Well, I don't even think we're at capacity and we're doing that. So I think we could get to like 140. Genuinely.
Do you think that when you're up and running and everything is good, that you will be normalized production will be 150 per month average?
Yeah, for this first year.
Okay, perfect. No, it's fine. I'm just trying to get an idea so that we're getting into numbers hard and quick, because I think, as Craig pointed out, like some of it is just super arbitrary. And so until we break it down.
Yeah, this is a very helpful exercise. So I appreciate everybody staying with it. It's I know where Peter's going, and I want everybody to follow along. And this is applicable for all of us.
So right now, Donnie, run really well. Ian, quickly, what's 12 times 140?
Well, listen, I did it already. It's 450,000. If you wait, what I did
times 140, Craig.
140,000 per month times 12 is 686.
Okay.
168.
So essentially,
divided by 4 ops is 420.
You see where the disconnect is now, right? And so one was kind of like hopium, and the other is like, hey, here's data broken down in granular sizes. So
and Pete, I just want to say one thing, Donnie. Don't hear Peter as raining on your parade. He's just building your dream with math and logic. If it doesn't support your dream, we need to change the math.
But like Craig's saying, 95% of dentists I've ever met function from a place of their feelings, of their gut, and they make emotional decisions. I think I can do this, or I want to make this. And instead, just deal from data-driven decisions, not emotion, because emotions are dangerous, especially
Well, here's what happens with emotion. You'll go on this run rate. Have we not had this conversation? You'll realize it in 1, 2, or 3, or 10 years from now and be like, oh shit, like this is not what I thought. Because right now you have the newness and the freshness of being a business owner. It's super cool. And you're hopeful that you'll make a lot more money with it, because you wouldn't have done it if you hadn't. But then if we start crunching the numbers and we say, like, at absolute maximum, this is what I can do here with an entrepreneurial profit of X percentage. This is what I can make. It'll at least allow you to say, okay, this is going to be a great practice as a Dr. Donnie 1.0, but Dr. Donnie 2.0 needs to go to blank, potentially, or something else.
Last thing I'd say real quick, and then I'll shut up with the math. So Donnie, at that extrapolated run rate you just gave me at 140 a month, your efficiency per operatory per year would be about $420,000.
Okay, break down that term real quick, Peter, just because I want new listeners to understand. $420,000 of gross collection per operatory.
Per year, right? So that's the efficiency of your facility, which is pretty good, right? And what do you remember the number of what we had to get to in the 5 scenario to get to 3 million?
600.
600. Yeah. So you see that now we have to build a chair and go up 33% in chair productivity.
Yeah.
There. Okay. That's it. So see how it's like, and you can see how I'm not raining on your parade. That's actually doable. You would be super efficient, but there is definitely a gap that needs to be accounted for.
Now, in the 5th op scenario, and the reason I feel like I was saying the numbers I was saying is because what I envision is that it's not just a one doctor practice. Like I have 2 doctors with an overflow room, 2 hygiene. And the only reason I say that is because I actually, as an associate, I worked in that setup and it was pumping on all cylinders, great brand, 90 new patients, obviously different scenario. I'm more rural. They were in New York City. That's kind of where that mindset comes from, because I've seen it done before.
Let me ask you a question. What was your production collection in that ecosystem?
That's actually a little triggering. I actually left that practice. I wanted to do like a little bit of a partnership. They weren't sharing my production numbers with me. And I had to kind of go around people's back to try to get some of those things just for like lending purposes. So
see it in the software?
No, I was like blocked from seeing reports.
Way.
That's crazy.
And then I would ask them and they would give me numbers in an Excel sheet, like after, my 33% or whatever it was. I'm like, okay, but show me the original number.
Oh, wow.
And they just wouldn't give it to me. And they were gaslighting me.
That's
Wow. So look, you had an associateship where it was a bullying relationship where the owner doctor was bullying you, not giving you the proper information.
Trust me, bro. It's a
Trust me, bro. Come on. Why do you want to stay? Like, no big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal. It's fine.
This is what you produce. Trust me, bro.
Yeah, just trust me. You got it all here. But so that's also what led you to be like, dude, screw this. I'm not working for somebody. I got to carve out my own path. I get it. But what did you surmise your collection was?
Oh, my collection. I mean, I made
What do you think you
collected. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
So look, your model for what's possible is based on this practice that you were a part of that was, quote, pumping on all cylinders. But yet,
just because I was working it.
No, I understand, but we don't know the financial impact of what you can do. It's really nice. So when I'm hiring, and this is very important for everybody here, when I'm hiring a new associate, I'll ask that associate, hey, what's your best year of collection? What's your average month? They say something like, I was kind of busy. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I don't feel as comfortable. It's like you talk to a person who runs marathons. What do you run a mile in? They're like 4 minutes and 38 seconds, but sometimes like 4 minutes, 41 seconds. They know. So when someone doesn't know, it's just a good tell that they're not really approaching it scientifically. And it's always a good tell. So when you're hiring your next associate, make sure you ask that question. What's your best month of production collection? Make sure they know it because you want to work with hungry people. But I think going to Pete's point, you can touch that. The top tier practices, Peter and I don't achieve this, or maybe I do in a single location, but it's extraordinarily difficult. 580, 600 per op, right? What would you say, Pete, is mortal? And
never heard anything higher than 600. Yours has been actually one of the highest I've ever heard of.
Well, we have a unicorn. So 600, 5 ops. The other thing I want to point out, just being the Ghost of Christmas Future, is this is the common trajectory for you, Donnie. You're going to be amazing at dentistry. I just know you do the right promotion. You're a good provider. I see your work. You know how to network and connect. You're not afraid to ask for help. So you are going to be probably the best dentist that'll ever work in your practice for at least a little while. So you're going to be a $2 million provider. You're going to be like, oh my God, this is so easy. Let me hire some of my buddies. And they're going to show up and barely be able to do 500. Do you notice that the docs you have working with you right now are not as productive as you are?
Well, one of them is actually really hungry and it's really to see. I think she could be something similar to me, just in terms of like on her first day, she was converting same day. She's following up on making sure the patients are seeing her. She's very active in that way.
I'm sorry to interject. Why 2 part-timers in this?
That's I guess another issue is just like knowing when to pull the trigger in terms of adding expenses and how much to add. I brought one on because I was like, okay, I want to have one day where I can do admin, where that didn't even work out because she wasn't producing. And
for you.
Yeah, tell me what doing admin.
Because that's called Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
I think people are specifically asking why 2 part-timers 1 day a week.
I'm not a fan of the part-time.
Yeah, me neither, ever, for anything.
Because it's truly a hired assassin, someone who comes in, gives no craps about your practice, really. So I would rather see one. If you have 2 working 2 part-time 2 days a week, I would essentially say, Donnie, get rid of 1, hire 1 full-time. And you're saying, hey, what about the expenses? I would say, hey, I would build for the practice you want, not for the one that you currently have. And meaning you just shared with me the results of what you want. So is that decision congruent with this $3 million goal? Yes or no?
No.
No, yes, it is congruent. Firing 1.
Firing 1
is congruent. Yeah. Okay. We're saying the same thing. I just didn't pose the question correctly. Right. But like getting someone that's going to ride or die with you to that, let's just call it that the mythical $3 million, like you're going to need someone that's on the ship, not on the ship one day and off the ship the next day.
Yeah. This is typical, by the way. And I just want to add one thing for those hiring the first associate. This is a typical conversation. It'll be a person who's a super GP, places implants, does surgery, says, hey, I'll do 1 day a week when you can fill my schedule. Call me when you implant to drop in. Okay. So building a dental practice is a lot like farming. You need to plant seeds, you need to water them, and then you pick the fruit. You wait and you pick the fruit. You have 2 people like, call me when there's fruit to pick. It's always, they just want to land the plane. It's always important because we see this a lot in our Bulletproof Mastermind. 3 part-time hygienists 1 day a week. 2 or 3 dentists 1 day a week. You build the 2-day a week. What happens when Dr. 1 comes in on Monday, Dr. 2 comes in on Tuesday, Dr. 1's temporary comes out, Dr. 2 is like, oh, it's a prep, you know?
It's an organizational nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
And number 2, you're vulnerable, right? And then you have different assistants working with different doctors, and who's on first, who's on
Double
second.
supplies.
Chaos. All right. But Donnie, so you mentioned, I don't want to take that additional expense. Okay. So I'm guessing for those 2 part-timers, you have a full-time assistant, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're using the same assistant for both part-timers, right? So that's no more expense, right? It's the same expense you have now. And a dentist is typically paid, unless you're going to do a salary with them, is typically paid on they eat what they kill. So how would it be additional expense for you?
Well, I'll say this. One associate is, eating what they kill, and they're making their 33%, and it's great. Whereas the other one is I'm losing money because they're not getting past their daily minimum.
You're getting hit with the daily minimum.
Right. And I'm trying to mentor them also. And I think right now it's getting to a point where it's just not working.
Yeah. So
Well, hopefully they don't listen to this.
hitting my point is that the longer you give someone a bandwidth to work with in the week, the less likely you're going to trigger that daily minimum, right? Because it's an aggregate number of the monthly. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually you're thinking that you're being nimble and like having multiple people, but you're actually preventing yourself from growing in this scenario because you're seeing the expenses. And you're like, this isn't working as much as well as I thought. But Craig's shaking his head. Maybe Craig, you can land the plane on that a little bit better.
Well, I'm just shaking my head because I really wish I was sitting in your seat 20 years ago and had Pete and you or whatever to tell me these things, because I'm shaking my head because I have a fatal flaw. It's a blessing and a curse. I believe in people, and I was thinking like you, and I want to mentor people, but you're running a business and your mortgage is due no matter what, and the bills are due no matter what. So I love the idea that you have this good heart condition towards these associates and want to help them grow. But I'd rather see you have a successful associate and tell this other associate like, hey, come shadow me and I'll teach you, but I can't pay to teach you. I can show you what we can do, but I think it's really important. You have to make these sound financial decisions. And the most costly thing is the operational expenses of your office. So putting another doctor there and putting another day rather on the doctor, 2 days on the doctor will help you enormously. If I were you, I'd try to get that doctor to 3 days. I've never seen something build in 2 days. We've taken several masterminders that have had 2-day-a-week doctors for years. And we said to them, hey, at the very minimum, just give this doctor a 3rd day and cut the other lower hanging one. And it's always seemed to work out.
Yeah. Same with hygienists too, by the way. This methodology works.
Do you think of a way that could happen, Donnie, in your ecosystem?
Well, I think the other thing is trying to gauge, because also I came into a messy situation on the PMS side where it's hard to really know the patient size. And so trying to gauge if we have the patience to do it, because we're building the marketing out now. They didn't even have a website. So, I had to do the Google business page. We did the website and we saw traffic from that. And trying to play
gift, Donnie, from just those two, finding a practice without a website is a gold mine.
Just that alone, we were able to see a huge lift. And so now I'm trying to get into
MS are you on, Donnie?
That's another thing. We were on EagleSoft and now we're switching to Open Dental. We're doing that at the end of the month on top of getting on.
Take a vacation during that week.
I have a wedding, and so the computers are going to be installed when I'm gone for the wedding, but outside of that now.
Can I give you because look, I think the most disruptive thing you can do, you mentioned some of the levers, you have problems with the culture and existing staff and all these things. Can I just give you a little advice as someone who's eaten this?
Yes, please.
Before with this? Did you ask your team if it was okay did you get adoption of, I want to switch practice management softwares? Did you get them saying, yeah, we want to as well?
It was a top-down decision, but I've been very vocal, and I told them that I want it to be collaborative in terms of like, what do you need? Let's do trainings. I actually have a consultant that comes in person like twice a month. And so they've been helping on the onboarding side. This is what we're doing, and this is why. Tell me what you need for it to make the most sense and make the transition easy for you.
So I would maybe just pause a little bit on that, because without people buying into the decision and without you saying, hey, I really need your I really need your approval before we move forward. I need you to get in there and work with this software so that you can see how it's going to benefit. And I really want you to give it the blessing before we do this, because here's what's going to happen, Donnie. If you don't, because this is like, again, there's nothing more disruptive than switching softwares. The second they don't know how to do something, when it goes live, when Donnie flicks the switch and we're live and they don't know how to do something, they are going to revolt. And you're like, why did we do this? I knew how to work it back on EagleSoft. Why did, this is so much harder. And you're going to hear belly aching till the end of time. And then ultimately, like what I had to do the first time I tried to switch practice management softwares was I had to flip the switch back because I couldn't deal with it. Now, granted, it was a crap software, but so the next time I tried this, I slowed the bus down. I said, look, I want you guys to go in this webinar. I want you to go through training. I want you to work with these people. We're going to sandbox this installation before we go live. And I need your approval, right? And so sandboxing means you checked all the data. People know how to work it, but it's not live yet. You're running data systems. Exactly. You just have to get one key person in each department to say, this is awesome. And then show the benefit. How does their life get easier, better, faster? How does the practice make more money?
Can I add to one thing that you're saying? Because you're giving great tactics, but we're actually speaking to Dr. Donnie's request, which is I want to feel confident. I want to feel confident in my ability to lead. You didn't say, I want to manage people. You actually said I want to lead people. There's a key thing you wrote. You could have said I really want my team to do what I say, or I want to learn how to manage my team, manage people better. You said lead, and the leader helps people get what they want. It's influence. You can't lead people unless you influence people. So Peter is giving you the tactics on influence. If I want to influence you, Donnie, I ask you, what do you want? You say, I want to make $1 million. Great. Well, would you be open if I could show you 3 or 4 ways that you could actually increase your revenue so you can get there? Hell yeah. Okay, let's do it. So here's your new practice management system. Here's your new work life. I'm hiring this person. I'm doing that. If you can start learning these things, these skills of influence now at your very young age and your new business trajectory, you will master the skills. So Hope, is your consultant like a business consultant? Are they teaching you this stuff, or what type of consultant is it? Because I want to make sure you're getting the right information.
Yeah, it's like a business/systems consultant. She is primarily coming on to help me systemize things in a way that we can.
You and the team, or just you more?
Both. So at first she was working with just me and it was calls. And then she came to me and offered coming in person to work with the team in addition to calls with me.
Got it. And
she's an open dental expert.
I don't know about expert, but she knows how to do it. She's trained my team a couple times already.
Okay. Perfect.
Is she a dentist, hygienist? What type of?
No, she's always been on the managerial side. So she's not a hygienist or dentist or anything, but she's been in the industry 20 plus years and had a track record to show for it.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Why did you hire her? Just out of curiosity, because of what Craig said, your uncertainty as an ability to lead potentially?
Yes, to be honest, yeah, it was more being able to have someone that I could lean on, just because I know there's aspects that I lack, and kind of getting advice on those when it comes to making sound decisions. I feel like I can, as we all know, dentistry can be lonely, and it's great because I can reach out to Craig and he'll answer me, even though we've never met in person. But when I'm in the thick of it, it just feels like I'm in my head. And so, yes, right, to be able to have someone on the ground where I can run stuff by, so that way I feel more sound in my decisions, felt like the right thing to do.
Agreed. I think it is the right thing to do. How much is it, if you don't mind me asking?
It's $2,000 a month. She's coming twice a month plus calls.
You have an ability to cancel at any time, or how's it work?
Yeah. There's no real contract in place, at least as of yet. I mean, start date is April.
And you making sure you called references and all that stuff. You called other doctors that have worked with this person before, or no?
Yeah, I have to be careful about this, but I know one of the doctors she works for, and then I'll be careful.
Perfect. Awesome. Good. I like it.
Donnie, can I just pause right here? Are you getting what you need from this?
Yeah, I know. This is brilliant. Like I said, I've been listening for a while, and there's a lot of things I've always taken from you guys, but getting this, when it's directed to me is super helpful to really fine tune those arbitrary numbers. I have ideas in my head, but then when I write it down, it's like, okay, that doesn't really make sense. Let's run that back.
Right. Good. Yeah. And so that would be, just, keep auditing yourself. Am I running this from a data driven place, or am I emotionally feeling this? So I think that was a great exercise. Okay. So when you came on the pod, you spoke about existing staff, problems, and a new culture kind of thing. Is this something we want to double click on now, or is there more of a, we're getting to the point, we're about 35 minutes in. Want to make sure we're tackling what you feel is the big rock that needs to be moved.
I think culture is the biggest thing, and the buy-in. And, I feel like they'll tell me everything's okay. And then, I might hear separately from someone, so-and-so said this, or they feel this way. And I try to have like an open door policy where I'm like, I'm very open. I want you to feel comfortable enough to tell me. But I think just the barrier of I'm your boss kind of prevents that from happening. And so trying to find ways where.
Can you describe that to me a little bit better? I'm your boss. Like, let me understand that, please.
Well, I go to my team very openly about the decisions I'm making, why I'm making them, and I want them to feel involved so that they feel like they can buy in. It's not just me telling them what to do. I do all that. And then, for example, I have one of my team members come to me and tell me that so-and-so doesn't feel comfortable about the, consultant coming in person. Are they going to be my boss? So it might be just a clarity thing on my side. Like maybe I didn't explain it properly, but like just trying to get them to buy in even more to, the things that I'm doing to grow all of us. Cause I have a huge bonus and incentive system too. Cause, just those are things that I know.
Who helped you design that? Did this consultant help you design it?
No, actually, one of my reps helped me just from the offices that he helps, gave me some ideas, and then I kind of tweaked them.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack, so let me just kind of go through it all. Do you have a leadership challenge? I had one too. Pete had one too. And it's evident, and I'm not picking on you. I'm reminiscing. It's your language. You said very carefully, I want to feel comfortable in my ability to lead. You're not leading really them. You're playing an influence game, but you have to. You should get to a point ultimately where the practice leads itself, right? That would be an ideal. Peter and I have been operationally removed from our practices, but it was very intentional. We did it. We hired leaders to just jump in, and this is not something you can do immediately, but you want to get to the point where the decisions that you're making are explained and allowing them to have a lot of weigh-in and buy-in. And if your consultant does do the speaking, she will be the de facto leader, and that's very dangerous. Like when you send your dog to get trained, the trainer trains your dog. The dog comes back.
Ultimately, Donnie, when you decide to fire her, there will be a leadership vacuum that happens.
Right. And they'll have so you want to make sure that she's building the training wheels for you, and the communication has to come from you. You can workshop all day long, but Donnie's going to sit down and talk to the team. Donnie's going to be the leader. It's not she's going to train the dog and then to give the dog back to you. The other thing that you said, oh my God, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, you're talking about yeah, I think it's good to double click on this while you're collecting your thoughts, Greg. Like, Donnie, did you see how if they're coming, if this quote unquote, the guru is coming in to fix the practice, right?
Right.
See how that puts you in it. Well, if you're the guru, then what are you, Dr. Donnie?
That consultant has to build you in your leadership, and she has to be silent to the team. She can gather data and talk to you. Hey, I think Becky's got to go and blah, blah, blah. And this is what's going on. But then you have to make decisions, because if they start venting to her, it's going to be hard for you. The second thing I wanted to click on, it's very important. Bonus systems are extraordinarily tricky. And the reason why they're tricky is because when they have to be changed, people feel like you pulled the rug out from underneath them. So yes, I'm so happy you're sharing in the profits, but I want to make sure, and you don't have to answer this live, I want to make sure it is built on a net percentage of team salaries. In other words, if they do $100 extra and they get $10, but your overhead percentage of salaries is 35%, you're actually killing your business. So your P&L, your team salaries and benefits, all of it included, payroll tax, 401k, everything can exceed maybe upper 20s, 26, 27, 28, maybe 30 at the max. We meet bulletproof masterminders. We go through their P&L and they're giving massive bonuses. Their team salaries at 40%.
And you so this is congruent. Craig, pause there because this is great. You see how going back to the beginning of the conversation when we were talking about a 33% top line, 33% EBITDA, you see how, and this is the biggest line expenditure in your P&L by far. You see how this could be not congruent with getting that goal of what you wanted to do, right?
And in order to help the listener too, Donnie, did the rep bring this part up with you?
No.
My suspicion is he did not.
No.
So you have a confident rep, and he's I'm not throwing shade at your rep. He's a good person and he wants to help you, but he was slightly intellectually lazy and he could have created a business problem. Hey, Donnie, if you do an extra $10,000, give him $2,000. Give him $2,000. It'll be great. You made 10, give him 2.
I did this down the road. It worked great. Here, do
this. It worked great. Yeah. Dr. Jones did that. And it's awesome. But imagine if you have a problem with your percentage of salaries and it's at 40. You can't fix that. And then when you say, hey, team, love you guys. I know you're working your tail off, but the bonus system, kind of got to just massage that a little bit. Massage, what does that mean? Well, I got to kind of, expenses and blah, blah. Oh, yeah, but look at your new shirt you bought, rich doctor, and then you built a system that you have to take away. Holy hell. Yeah, I'd rather switch practice management softwares every week than fucking deal with that.
So true. That is so true.
Sorry, Ian, you might have to beep out the F. But I'm just saying there's a lot of experts in our profession, Donnie, and I'm not just speaking to you. And I just want you to take advice from the people who are living the life you want to get. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm sure he was well-meaning, but these are the things that break. And when they break, they cause such problems. So I don't know if there's a way immediately to say like, hey guys, bonus system's kicking butt. Just want to let you know, we're going to reevaluate this periodically, like maybe yearly. So at least you can have an exit of this situation towards maybe January 1st of next year. Just plant the seed, because do you know what your percentage of team salaries is as an expense of your P&L?
Let me look, actually. I think it's around 27%. With
you need to know
bonus system.
You need to know it cold, but if it is 20
taxes, like all the things, Donnie,
all the team benefits.
Yeah.
So you're very lucky. You're doing good. And as you continue to grow, you'll grow out of that. The bonus system has to be designed to not violate the parameters. So we have to know the percentages of our practice. Most dentists, me included, Pete included, only focused on the top line. We didn't speak in percentages. So your hygienist that's making $90 an hour could be more profitable to your business than the hygienist that wants $26 an hour. It's all about percentage.
Craig, is to dissect the bonus plan.
That's okay.
Right. And I'm saying we could do, but it's complicated, right? Because what you want, Donnie, is you want, as the practice does better, right? I call it the triple win. Does Donnie do better? Does the practice do better? The team do better as things go up. And they're not going to go up dollar per dollar as the practice does, but like they see the benefit, like what's in this for me, right? I see when we do better, I do better, right? That simple first principle connection. And you just want to make sure it's because you want to get to a certain goal, a certain EBITDA, and you just want to make sure it's congruent. Again, going to that first number we spoke of, and then reverse engineering this backwards. Is this bonus plan congruent with that? Does it grow, right? Does it actually go if I got to 3 million, would my employee cost total be maybe 22%? That would be great, right?
Right.
You see what I'm saying with this?
Yeah.
It's all just, but we got to extract it, because I think what you're saying, Craig, is what works today that's working well may not be what serves you in Donnie 2.0 or 3.0 land of his practice. And having to turn around and be like, oh God, sorry, I made a mistake, guys, on that could be, they're like, that's fine. You can make mistakes as long as it doesn't impact us, Dr. Donnie.
And believe me, I hope you just realize the only reason why Peter and I are saying this is because we actually did the mistake that we're telling you.
Oh my God.
So we know the pain. We know the pain. So that's the whole spirit behind it.
Donnie, I think you nailed a couple things though when you were saying like I had existing staff and problems. Hopefully when you came in, right, and they're seeing this now as evidence that you're not there to make their life worse. Right? You're there to make it better. And whenever I acquire practice to the existing team, I go in there and I say this, like, hey guys, you don't know me. And I know this is scary and humans hate change, but I'm going to be here to make this practice easier, better, faster. And you're going to benefit along the way. I'm going to implement this and do this, right? Because that's all people hear. Human brains are designed to do two things: survive and then thrive. And so what's they're hanging up on is, am I getting fired from new Dr. Donnie? Okay, maybe not. And then how am I going to thrive in this scenario? Because I knew how I did in this past one. So you have to paint the picture, and people can't see things. So you have to very well articulate how they do well, how they do better, right? That's a good antidote for culture, because once you can kind of convince them of that, they see that, oh shit, I'm riding with this guy now, right? Screw what we were, I'm riding this. And they are fully bought in when they know that you are in it to make everyone better, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's lives better. They are fully bought in.
So with this, Donnie, a lot of change is going to come from what you took today. And I'm sure for many of our listeners, the first step is to go back and actually implement these things and take what Pete and Craig have said today and go change. And one of the things that you had actually shared with us, which is what I want to end this off on, is you feel eager for immediate results after making changes, and that gets you in trouble, or that's something that you struggle with. And with both Craig and Pete having run multiple practices, and I know Craig having made so many changes in his practice from when he took it over in these things, of course we want immediate change. If we can get the closing arguments from Pete and Craig on this issue of feeling eager to see immediate change, what are your thoughts?
Something that I've come to realize when it comes to that, and I feel like I can only say this now that I'm 6 months into it, is seeing that it took me 6 months to see some of the changes finally come to life. And so I think you guys might have said this, I've heard this elsewhere too, but being impatient with action and being patient with the results, I think is like something that I've been leaning into as of late, and realizing that this is not like a short game. This is not a marathon or a sprint. This is a marathon. And so kind of leading with that mindset has changed how I go about making decisions. And, some of the stuff that I'm going to take from this will also play into that as well.
Very cool. So here's my closing thought. Congratulations. You're on step 1 or step 2, but it's a lifelong journey. And what I'm excited for you is that all the changes that you will and your team will actually happen for you first. So the first step in the leadership journey is leading yourself first. So I would increase my appetite for leadership books if you have one. I would be reading Maxwell's 5 Levels of Leadership, From Good to Great. I would consume every non-dental leadership book I could. You can pick your flavor, whichever one. But I've been doing this long enough. I'm working with so many different doctors. I've really, had a really cool career, and I've watched people grow. And the commonality that I see right before I see massive growth in an organization is the self-growth of the leader. And the language changes, and it gets more resolved on focusing on helping people. Like, your language won't be, how do I get this, or how do I get people to blah? It's like, how do I take better care of the team? How can I get the team to make more money? How can I get the team to care more? How do I make the team feel more appreciated? Once that switch happens in your head, and it took my dumbass like 20 years to get to that place, hopefully you get it in 20 days or 20 months or 20 weeks, it shifts everything. So the first person you got to lead is you. And clarity and understanding is really powerful. And I know you have really cool ideas in your head, which is awesome. But I think this, if you re-listen to this, or whoever's listening to this, like, really take it in and, be able to answer your questions really precisely, and why you're creating this and what's the reason. And even ideally, the reason why you open up a practice is to provide dentists and team members an amazing place to work, one that's not available, one that you never had. You will get a pathway to massive success. If you can help other people get everything they want out of life, you will get everything you want out of life.
Yeah, that's great.
Well said, Craig. I echo what you're saying, Craig. And there's more. So I agree with the kind of looking at, like maybe the 5 Levels of Leadership book. That's a great one. And Donnie, just so you're hearing me, like, we all, like Craig and I, read that consistently, because it's not us being like, you do this and you do this. This is a life learning thing, and we're all continuing. Additionally, there's one other thing that, because I think that the communication part, what you say and what people hear are 2 different things. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So
Yeah, that's fine.
So there's one thing I've been watching recently, and maybe this is not part of the closing remarks, but I think it's good. I think people will see value in this. In 2019, this MIT professor named Patrick Winston got up and did a 1-hour lecture called How to Speak. And it has over 18 million views for a reason. And it's very good from a first principles of, like, how do I talk to them, right? And this is his lecture is kind of on a presentation mode, but you are in kind of presentation mode. You're in presentation mode to your patients. You're kind of in presentation mode to your team, but it's a really good thing to watch. It's a 1 hour, right? And it's amazing. And I watched it the other day and I was like, holy shit, so much to learn from this, right? So much could have been deployed. So that may have not been the most strongest closing statement, was like, read this book and watch this YouTube, doing great things. And the fact that they're on this podcast alone means you have the first thing, which you care deeply. You care deeply about all of this. So for that, if I could buy Donnie stock, I would right now, because I can see where this is going.
I appreciate that.
So
I appreciate
in the game, man. Stay in the game. Know that you've got some glass coming that you're going to have to chew, and just smile as your mouth is bloody. Like, just keep on. Like, I know where I'm.
Yeah.
Fun.
That's the one thing I can say in all of this is that I know those times are coming, and like I said, I like the idea of problem solving, even if I, have to chew glass. Like, it's not really a deterrent for me. It's more like, okay, here's the next problem. How do we figure it out? And I like that. Like, I get off
You
on
say
that.
this now. The first 6 months, everyone says this. Just to be clear, you say that you're excited about it because it's new. 6 years from now, you may start being burnt out by the same problems that come, right? And so your life, as Craig said, is not the absence of these problems. It's just better quality problems that you're solving. And that is the goal. You get to an autonomous practice where things run. You're not the nucleus of everything. Things are running despite you, and they're running really well despite you. You're not involved in things because the decision making, you only get about 300 quality decisions a day, and right, if you're getting burned by them all day long, then Donnie gets burnt out and he leaves like, everything runs through me, nothing's going to get done. So just something to think about there.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm proud of you, man. I really am proud. You're taking bold steps, as evident just by your story, and I love that. So
thank you, guys. I appreciate it. This was awesome. Thank you, guys.
Of course. Thank you for being vulnerable, transparent, and believe it or not, there's thousands, if not tens of thousands of young doctors who
just like
need
that.
this place to vent and talk and share. And you're not alone. And we were all in your shoes too. So keep crushing it, buddy.
So those of you who got value from this, we do a lot of this at Summit, right? We do a lot of this in the mastermind, Donnie, and just telling people that there are more levels to the bulletproof kind of thing. Craig actually does this kind of on the floor and really, really breaks down people's, not problems, but really diagnoses things. And Craig, you have an uncanny ability to kind of sniff out things. So I know you can't come. I know you can't come to Summit, but I would encourage someone, if this was at all value, come and experience this live, like immerse yourself in this level of problem solving.
Yeah.
Practices.
Donnie, if you just as a point of reference, if you could bring your team and they heard this, everything would be reset. The power balance would be reset. We see people at Summit with their team, and I see them like at 9 o'clock at night. Peter and I will leave the hotel and come back and we're going to bed, and there's teams working together and everybody's buying in. So all it is, when you look at I'm looking at that podcast, How to Speak. I can't wait to listen to it. But really, unfortunately, people feel what you believe. And when you believe, I got to get confident in my ability to lead, I don't know, I'm making it about me. It's all about you. And when it's all about you, people tune you out. So your leadership is going to be a journey, and it could be a very fast journey if you want to go to Summit one year, a very fast journey, like literally in 48 hours, it could be fixed. But it's like you get to this place where it's like, hey, this practice exists to provide an amazing center for patients and for you guys as my team. And I just want to facilitate, like, oh my God, we didn't realize that. And then boom, it's like,
and that
instant.
in itself is an investment. Like, we never went to a conference before, Dr. Donnie, with Dr. whatever, like that. People see that as a vicarious investment. Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's your, So,
well, I'm getting a hit up right now from a person who's at the retreat, and she's like, I wish I could go, and I'm like, well, come. She goes, I don't think my doctor's going. I'm like, come on your own. She goes, I literally really need to. I'll look into it, doc. So we have an office manager who's going to come on her own. So that's pretty cool.
Let's wrap here, Donnie. And yeah, man, hit us up with any questions that come from this newfound directive that you have.
Yeah, I definitely will. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Welcome, buddy. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks, everyone, for watching today's episode of the Bulletproof Dental Practice Pod. We hope this conversation brought you a tremendous amount of perspective and reminded you of why you love dentistry.